Hey guys, my name is Jason. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, basically I just talk about random topics that I find interesting. I try to explore different ideas and whatever is pretty much interesting to me at the moment. But today's video is a little bit different because I want to talk a bit about higher education and why I don't plan to do higher education, if that makes sense. So this is coming from a person who has his undergraduate's degree. I went to a private university, four-year university, and received a bachelor for uh, finance and a bachelor's of economics. So I was double majoring at the time, and I had a great experience at my university, but I don't really plan on continuing that. So I don't really plan to go to get like a graduate's degree or something. And I think after I got out of the university and started my first job outside of university, that's kind of where I realized that it doesn't really make sense to go back for more, for I guess higher education. And those would be like graduate's degrees and like doctorates or some sort of thing that you can put on a piece of paper. Um, and I think it's because the value of what you get in a college degree isn't what it used to be anymore. And I don't mean that in the way where you're not learning the right things. Like, are they just not teaching you the right things? It's more in a sense that the information that is taught in universities is so abundant, it's everywhere, and you can get this information almost anywhere with the internet. Um, because regardless of what university you go to for your undergraduate's degree, or I guess any department, but I guess we can stick with undergraduate. Regardless of where you go, you're going to be learning the same thing. Like the information, the information does not change, like regardless of where you go. If you're taking a finance class, what you're going to be learning at one university is going to be pretty much the same thing at another. That type of information is pretty much standard at this point. Like, it's not like you go to one university and you don't learn the same thing as the next. Um, you're learning pretty much the same thing. Um, but I've also realized that once I've got outside of the university, it's also not very clear how much I've really learned. And it's mainly because you don't really know what is useful. Um, you don't know what's useful when you're in university or, taking classes. Like, everything is important, right? Obviously, you're taking a degree, whatever you're majoring in, that's what you're studying, and those courses are designed to give you the right information for your degree, obviously. But when you come out, when you graduate, when you come out of university, how much information would you say you've kept, that you've learned, that you kept um, when you were taking classes? Um, for me, I would say very little. Um, very little. And it's not like I wasn't taught this stuff. It's not like I didn't have it in my classroom, or we didn't have exams on this, because we did. It's more of a sense of you don't really know how useful it is, even though the information is good, how useful it is for you. Because the information provided, like whatever you're studying, let's say it's finance, right? If you're working in the finance field, there are some things that are general enough which you can keep with you, uh, and it's good information. It's good things to know. But the role that you're working in, if you do get a finance related job, is so specific to what that company requires of you that it just doesn't make sense to know, because when you're taking these exams, when you're studying this material, you're only taking the exams to get the grade. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because obviously you want to do well, but after that it just kind of goes away. But not because it's bad, it's like bad information. Like, no, it's like it's useful, but it's not useful to you at the time, so you just don't retain it. The information that is given to you during classes and taking exams, like once the exam is over, it's gone. You just, you think about your next exam, um, and that's kind of what the issue is. Because I would say for me, maybe like 5% of everything that I've learned during my 4 years of undergraduate, I've actually kept, because you know, it's like it's not much. But I think if you ask other people, they would also say it's not very much either. Um, and again, I think this is because you don't really know what you want. Well, I guess what you want to do, but also what position or what role that you're going to be getting a job offer in. Like, that could be anything. And if you knew that specific role that you'd be in, then it would make a lot of sense that what you've learned you would keep, you would retain it. It's yours. Um, but if you're never in that position, if you never get that specific role, um, it doesn't make sense to keep it, and so you just naturally forget it. Like, this doesn't make sense for me to know at this time, therefore I'm not going to retain it. But then the issue comes is when you get into a finance role and they're going over some stuff that you should, or you have already gone over in classes. Like, you've taken exams and let's say you did well on it, but you don't remember it. Like, you have a vague understanding of what that is, because you learned it in university. You learned it in university, but once the exam was done, then you just kind of toss it away. It's not useful anymore. And also, the things that are taught in university, things that are taught in any sort of educational place, it is so readily available with the internet. You can go on YouTube, you can there's Coursera, there's Khan Academy, there's people that are teaching the same information. The university education itself is not part of the university anymore. It's outside of it. Like, it's not within the bounds of college. It's not there. It's outside. Like, anything that you can learn from college, the courses you're taking, can also be found online. They're provided, like, it's so readily available that anyone can take almost any course, whatever they're interested in, wherever they want, on whatever time they want, right? this information that you're also learning when you're at college, university, right? It's the same thing. So if it's the same thing, then what's the point, right? Um, and I think that's one of the drawbacks to it, because um, if you know what you want to study or what your current job position is, and like what type of knowledge you need to understand to be in that job position, then it makes sense for you to take courses or classes specifically for the stuff that you want to be able to do, right? Uh, it doesn't make sense for you to just get like a broad undergraduate's, whatever, right? Because it's not specific enough related to the role that you're currently doing. And I think this is one of those downfalls when it comes to why I don't plan on going for a graduate's degree, right? The information is so readily available that whatever I want to learn can be found, or someone's teaching it online, where I can do it at my own pace, at my own time, um, very, very cheaply and efficiently compared to colleges. Um, so yeah, but then what's the real benefit of colleges? What's the benefit of universities? Um, I think it's two things. One is that piece of paper, right? Because when you're going to college, like, what you want out of it is you want to graduate, and you want the little piece of paper that says that you have graduated from this prestigious school, right? And that piece of paper has a lot of power, because the university has a name for itself. It has merit, and people associate the name of, or I guess you can say the name of those universities as it's a byproduct of the type of student that you are. So once you have your college degree, then you can use that as a selling point to employers, potential employers, that you've graduated from this prestigious university and you got your degree here, right? That's it's the piece of paper. That's why people go, and that's why it's still good. I think the second reason why college is useful is it's networking. Um, there's no other place in time where society sets up this set time, 4 years, where you have people who are approximately the same age as you, going into, they're all approximately the same age as you, and they're all going into a specific field that you are interested in, right? Like, there is no other time where that's happening. Not only do you meet people who are relatively the same age, you guys are also in the same department learning about similar things, right? Like, no other place can you get that. And so, like, networking is huge. Like, if you're gonna go to college, if you're gonna go to university, one, it's the piece of paper. Two, it's networking. It's meeting people. That's where the benefit is when it comes to university. It's the piece of paper that says that you've completed something worthwhile, and then it's the people you meet at university who you can expand your network with. Like, those are the two. So Me personally, I don't plan to go to graduate school, but I think if I'm given the opportunity from my employer, or uh, if I get a change of heart, like I I think certificates are a good thing. I think those would be beneficial. Um, but if I ever do, maybe it's like an MBA. Um, but I don't really plan on getting anything beyond that. Um, so yeah, all in all, like I don't plan on going for a graduate's degree anytime soon, but the real benefit of university is the piece of paper and meeting people. And like meeting people is a huge benefit to it, you because once you're outside of university, you're no longer in the atmosphere, like you're no longer in the environment where you're able to talk to people who are the same age as you, who are studying the same thing as you, that are in the same area as you, right? Like that's a huge benefit that universities provide. And once you're outside of that, you just don't get that. So there are two reasons why you should do it. But for me, I don't really plan on doing it because I feel like what you can learn when you're there is approximately the same thing as what you can learn anywhere. And that resource has been, you know, there people are constantly making that resource available to you because, ultimately the goal is anyone from anywhere of any, you know, status or whatever can have a quality education just from the presence of their house, right? From a screen. So um, I think I'll leave it at that. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you also see this the same way as me. I think I'll leave it at that. So thank you all. I'll see you guys next time.